Through storytelling, sound frequency, and intention, we awaken the magic of spoken words. Our tool to create, transform, and shape the path ahead. Ancient wisdom says, we dream our world into existence. Welcome to Fireside Alchemy, a space for deep conversations and juicy realizations. I'm Sophia. Restate your story, reclaim your truth. The alchemy begins now. I want to share that since starting this podcast, so many things have come into my peripheral vision, if you will. One of those things is this book, Yoga and the Sacred Fire by David Frawley. Now, I was looking up something else. This book came up and I got it a week or so ago. And the moment I opened it and started reading the foreword, it was such deep resonance that I bawled. I could feel it in my soul, and every word on the page resonated. I'm always so curious. And for him, for instance, over 20 years ago, he started his journey. He taught himself Sanskrit, and one thing led to another, and his journey began. And I feel emotional even talking about it now. I don't know what it means, but what I do know on a surface level, but it's really not surface, is that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I'm excited about, it's not just a podcast. It is part of my journey. It has opened up something in me, within myself, to align to more of who I am becoming, to remembering. And then I started to reflect on all of the breadcrumbs specifically related to not just yoga, but Sanskrit, self-realization, self-knowledge, and going beyond the self of compassion and understanding. This platform and podcast is really bringing me to a point of letting go of perfection. It's not about the algorithm and the hashtags. I do use them, but it's not even about who's listening or how many listeners, because ultimately, this is for me. This is my journey. This is me practicing whatever it is within me that is expanding and opening and leaving behind the layers of personality, projections, the remembering of the soul as the sacred fire, as the beginning point of any remembering, because the sacred fire within, and I want to stop there. Let me finish my sentence. The sacred fire within, I have words now that help me to understand why it's so deeply resonant. Fireside Alchemy. And it wasn't that I just made this title up, that it sounded good. There was a lot of reflection, meditation, asking for guidance and direction, truly surrendering into what this is here to become. What, as the vessel giving birth to this, witnessing and listening to the inspired action to create, co-create with every guest and person that will intimate their story and their medicine, the wisdom that comes from that alchemizing from the experiences. I want to share some things in this book. Let me just go through. Since the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but rather a flame to be lit, Vedic ritual consists of those practices that help light this fire. Yogic practices, which are like movement and meditation rituals, similarly help light our inner fire. And this is us in the foreword of the yoga and the sacred fire. What else do I want to share? It speaks to the veneration of the sun disk in Vedic tradition. The sun here represents the inner fire of the mind in its fully awakened condition. It's called Agni. That's the fire. David Frawley's Yoga and the Fire breaks fresh ground by considering yoga and Agni, the Vedic sacred fire, together and connecting this understanding to mystical and native spiritual traditions worldwide, calling us to reclaim our sacred fires and use them to build a consciousness-friendly future for the planet. It charts a yogic course beyond our present planetary crisis that is in harmony with the vision of the most ancient seers and sages. And I fucking love this because one of the three consistent questions that I've been inspired to ask each person is, what are you dreaming the world to be? So thinking of group think and putting our energetic co-creation into the collective. This is such a powerful confirmation of what is being created here on Fireside Alchemy. It goes on to say in the next paragraph, doing this allows Frawley to build bridges between diverse traditions and show the path to the most secret intuitions of spiritual experience. He presents his material in a very engaging style, emphasizing universal themes and drawing upon the wisdom of different cultures, showing also their Vedic connections in the idea of an ancient and eternal global spirituality of light. So this made me think of the discussion with True. He talked about universal wisdom and that he mentioned he could be reading Kabbalah one month and then next month going to Hare Krishna meetings. So it's not about a particular tradition belonging to a culture or a person. I mean, these are universal truths. And True Kepra spoke to that on episode 3. Let's see what else. I highlighted a bunch of stuff. Eternal fire, called Agni in Sanskrit. It is our inner guide. So going back to the 3 questions, the second question is, what would your inner fire say to you today? And again, confirmation. And it's just so beautiful. Like these kinds of synchronicities and confirmations, you just can't make this shit up. And this is not just the first time this is happening. This is a practice over the last several years that I have put my experiential, my scientific hat on to test certain things out. And that is the alignment, listening to the whispers, the nudges, the joy, the excitement, the feeling in my body that moves me into making a decision to go forward into a full body yes, some people call it. I mean, it's just really beautiful. It gives me moments of deep reflection and deep, deep gratitude where, I mean, I'm just in tears with the beauty, you might call it bliss, and just gratitude of. I also like to refer to these synchronicities and these confirmations as this energetic hug from the universe. Like, yes, that's it. Keep going. You're aligned. This is it. Now, in the author's preface, it says, our current global difficulty is above all a crisis in consciousness that has arisen from neglecting the soul and the sacred presence within and all around. To deal with it properly requires a new inner fire to lead us back into the light. Whatever else we may do today, we cannot ignore the planetary situation that grows more dangerous every year as our current civilization continues to spin out of harmony and threaten the very fabric of life. To overcome this crisis, we must recall, we must remember, which is the word that I have been using. Again, confirmation. Re-invoke, he says, if you will, what is not only the most ancient theme of the yogic spirituality of India, but perhaps of the entire world, the sacred fire. The sacred fire represents both the sacred nature of the universe and of our own soul. The fire hidden in our own bodies and minds, which is our individual portion of the divine. Our soul is not just an abstract entity, but an inner fire connected to all the forces of the universe that we can use to change the nature of the reality from darkness to light, from ignorance to enlightenment. This labor of the soul is the practice of yoga, which is our reintegration into the unitary light of consciousness that is our true being. I'm going to skip down. We must once more light the sacred fire within ourselves and within our societies. This book aims at the cosmology of spirituality, the basis of which is the universal self that is present in all nature, extending beyond time and space as pure being consciousness bliss. Our true self is the universal being reflected in all existence, not our psychological self that is little more than a social mirage. Self-realization requires going beyond the psychological self, not simply in trying to unravel all of its details. And that's it for now. There's just so much. I am now in the first chapter, and I gotta tell you, I don't even have words, but I feel so grateful to be able to share this art, this creation, this thing that has come through me to birth. And it's been really challenging, really scary for me to bare my soul, to be seen, to allow myself to be seen, even this audio. But with practice and moving through, it doesn't feel like I'm ready, and it's part of my journey. It's what feels it feels anchored in my heart, in that it's really not in my control. It's like this requirement, but it also feels good. It feels scary, and it feels expanding and confirming. So I will leave you with that as a very vulnerable share. And I will be doing more of this. So thank you for listening, or not. I mean, it's not even about that. My voice is the vibration, and whether anyone listens, it is coming out through me, and that resonance and that energy is all that is required for me to show up. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for sitting by the fire. If something sparked in you, share it with someone you love. To keep weaving these conversations, follow Fireside Alchemy and leave a review. You can find me on YouTube or wherever you tune in. Just search hashtag Fireside Alchemy. That's with Sophia. Until next time, restate your story, reclaim your truth, and keep tending the flame.